Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Blooming Journal Live. I'm Colleen Watson from Century Plant Publishing, and we are going to continue our series today about how to put the me in your about me. And today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest monsters you face in writing this document, which is imposter syndrome. And it's kind of ironic that this is the one we were doing today because, as you notice, I'm a little bit late. It's not 9 o'clock, it's almost 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And what happened? Well, here is what happened. I woke up with a headache this morning, a pretty bad one. And that headache, I know my headaches. And what happens is you have to take the meds, you have to not look at any screens, and you have to keep your glasses off until you get to a certain point. And if you don't, you're screwed later on because you're going to get the headache back in a couple of hours and it's going to be worse. So I had a choice. I could muscle through, or I could give myself some grace and be like, okay, today it's going to be late. I'm doing the very best I can, and I hope that people watching understand, right? Because that happens. But oh, the imposter syndrome came up. Well, if you were really an entrepreneur, you just muscle through. You'd show up on time. You wouldn't make these excuses. So let's talk about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. That's a big thing, right? The persistent inability to believe that your success is deserved. So I could come on here and talk to you about, oh my gosh, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? But I'm not going to do that today. Instead, I'm going to talk about an amazing commencement address I saw that reframed the whole question for me as well. And this was presented at Smith this year by their keynote speaker, which is, I'm going to look to say her name, I hope right, Rishma Suja. She talked about this whole idea, and she introduced imposter syndrome, and she talked about something called bicycle face. What's bicycle face, you asked? Well, bicycle face was a horrible medical condition that women, and only women, had right after in the 1890s when the bicycle became popular. And interestingly enough, only women got this terrible condition from riding bicycles. And what was the condition? What happened to these poor women with bicycle face? Well, their cheeks got flushed, their eyes bulged, their face got tight. Oh my gosh, terrible things would happen to you if you wanted to ride a bicycle. But what was really happening? What was really happening was that women were using the bicycle to get around without a chaperone. Oh my goodness. And they were talking to each other. And the fledgling movement of suffragettes were definitely using the bike to get around and get their message out. So the powers that be created an issue, bicycle face, to keep women off the bikes and keep them the status quo. And so, isn't it interesting that the whole idea of imposter syndrome came about when we started going to college, when we started going out into the workforce in droves, when Roe v. Wade got passed? Think about that. This whole thing was created the second we start coming into our own. And she asks in this video, why is it that you shouldn't feel uncomfortable or that you don't belong when where you're going isn't set up for you? It was never set up for you. You were never supposed to belong, right? Entrepreneurship is the same. We have this version of the Henry Fords and the, all of those big, guys, and it's always men, and they're always driven, and those qualities, they're not ladylike, are they? Right? We're not supposed to belong here, so of course it's uncomfortable. The problem is not us. We don't lack. The system we are in was not set up for us. And so the problem is not we as women individually fixing ourselves. The problem is the system. And imposter syndrome is a distraction. That is her presentation. Think about that. Think about the power of that. Imposter syndrome, the very concept itself, might just be a lie. Wow. Literally consider that. Wow. Well, that means that you are going to change the system of entrepreneurship or your corporate world by creating the spaces where you belong. It's not about changing you, it's about changing outside. And where do you start? I say you start here. Start with your About Me page. Own your worth without shame. And know that we're walking into a place that doesn't want to acknowledge our worth and demand we do it anyway, and help your sisters do it as well. Help all of your sisters do it as well from all over. Okay? Somebody said that's not why women enjoyed riding bicycles. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I hope that you've gotten something out of this. I hope that it expanded your mind a little bit. I hope that you own your About Me page. Want to talk about it? There's my calendar. It's in the show notes, as well as the link to the video, this amazing video, so you could watch it yourself. All right, rock stars. Thanks for listening along. And remember, it's never too late to bloom. Have a good one.